Hello, and welcome to Screaming at the Void, a podcast where I scream at the void and hope my voice is heard by someone. Today's topic, Uzumaki. Junji Ito needs no introduction, one of the most influential mangakas of our generation. Ito's spine-tingling works impart a sense of intimate dread onto the reader. His mastery of black and white hat shading complements the bodily and psychological horror his works encompass. Of those works is our topic for today, Uzumaki. Serialized between 1998 and 1999, Uzumaki relays the tale of Kurozucho, a coastal town practically isolated from society, narrated by Kirie, the main protagonist. Her boyfriend Shuichi has been noticing a strange pattern of disturbing incidents and behaviors in which spirals are the cause, from his father's death by contortion into a spiral, to transforming spiral-shelled snail people, to curly spiral hair battles in which the victor's prize is to be sucked dry of their life's energy by the hair. Ito's illustrations are haunting, and his panel layouts are a slow burn, making you simultaneously afraid and morbidly curious to see what lies on the next page. The level of detail and care put into each page is as beautiful as it is grotesque. Uzumaki's reputation as a horrifying work of art is well earned. But Adult Swim really screwed the pooch when adapting it. Comics are very interesting in how they're read, being half text and half illustration. For the most part, there's no part of it that can exist without the other. How much text and how many panels are on a page affect the pace. How much or how little dialogue there is, if there is any at all, has a deep impact on the mood. The sequential imagery imparts a sense of motion, how quickly or how slowly things happen. Words and pictures drive the imagination to see, hear, touch, feel, and taste things that you're given a visual for, but are expected to fill in the gaps with the accompanying text. I feel like adaptation of comics and TV shows have an uphill battle, especially when it's an adaptation of a beloved or well-established story. Aesthetically speaking, every good adaptation of a comic I've watched knows that it's all about when to be faithful to the source and when to diverge to make the story stand on its own legs. Translating panels to storyboards is tricky because translating the motion between each panel involves a lot of careful thought, and I think that this is one of the few things I can compliment Uzumaki on, in theory. We'll talk about visuals later. I do want to highlight the adjustments to Kirie and Shuichi's characters because I think this is a positive change from the manga. In the manga, Kirie is vehemently in denial about the weird goings-on around Kurozucho, and Shuichi is gloomy and pessimistic to the point of parody in some chapters. The adaptation pulls back on some of Shuichi's cartoonish gloom, and Kirie isn't as dismissive of Shuichi's observations or the eeriness of the events transpiring in town. Kirie's new sense of awareness removes a lot of that exhaustive feeling when a character is blissfully or willingly ignorant to the supernatural phenomena happening around them, a common criticism to most horror media. Shuichi's change is more or less a nitpick. I know that he's meant to be a madman who's actually right about everything, but at times it comes off as annoying to have to read through in manga. Now on to the negatives. Ito's work really takes its time with the build-up, so speeding it up a little to fit into a miniseries can be seen as sacrilegious, but I find that it could lend itself to a different kind of eerie feeling, knowing that several horrific things happening are slowly unfolding at once. They didn't do that. Based on the first episode, I assumed that the entirety of Uzumaki would overlap and be spread over a few episodes, between 6 to 8 episodes in total, maybe up to 10. Prior to writing the script, I actually had no idea that it was supposed to be a 4-episode series. I legitimately thought it would be longer than 4 episodes. Anyhow, back on script now. Setting up different occurrences of the spiral curse and then watching them slowly deteriorate the town would have created the slow burn suspense that would have been the closest thing to an anxious page turn we could hope for in a motion-heavy medium. For everything to be resolved in 4 rushed episodes left a sour taste in my mouth, especially the Jack in the Box chapter. They didn't condense the chapters, they ran it through a compression chamber. If premature ejaculation was a show, it would be Uzumaki. Now the big thing all the cool kids are talking about, the animation. I will give Uzumaki some credit. I think it translates the movement between panels very efficiently and theoretically would be beautiful. So let's be brief here because the horse being beaten has rotted to its bones by this point. The animation got really, really bad after episode 1. Parts of the episodes after episode 1 straight up look like unfinished storyboards intertwined with off-model animation. A PNG of Shuichi falling down the spiral hole in Dragonfly Pond comes to mind as the most egregious of this phenomenon. At least in episode 2, they had the decency to animate running loop gifs of Kazunori, Yoriko, Shuichi, and Kirie when they slid them forward while shrinking them to create a poor facsimile of people running from the camera. I can't make the claim that I do any better on my own, but this was being bankrolled by 2 major studios, and episode 1 sets the bar pretty high, unreasonably high for TV animation, regardless of how long the episodes would have been or how many there would have been. That is a lot of work to make it look that good, and the fact that we even got episode 1 to look that good in the first place is kind of astounding. Anyway, it's evident that a mishandled budget plays a large part of why so many things turn out the way they did. In a deleted set of posts from Blue Sky, co-founder of Toonami and producer of the show, Jason DeMarco, had this to say about the production of Uzumaki. "It's fine, we knew this would happen. I can't talk about what went down, but we were screwed over, and the options were A, not finish and air nothing and call it a loss. B, just finish and air episode 1 and leave it incomplete. Or C, run all 4, warts and all. Out of respect for the hard work, we chose C. After waiting so long, it makes sense people would be mad. Unfortunately, I can't tell them who to blame it on. But someone is definitely at fault here, and we all just had to do our best when things imploded. Maybe others would have made different choices. We did the best we could with what we had." But again, a lot of people worked very hard on this show, and I didn't think the actions of just 1 or 2 people should be the reason it never saw the light of day. Maybe that's the wrong choice, I truly don't know. But those people have a right to be annoyed and disappointed. I'm glad you were digging it. That is a damn shame. To think that one of the most iconic and beloved graphic novels would fall victim to mismanagement this blatantly catastrophic. This was announced in 2019, and 5 years later our patience was punished rather than rewarded. 5 years of patient waiting, and what we got is the equivalent of a #1 hits compilation made by a painfully mediocre cover band. I encourage you to go out and read Uzumaki for yourself. Give the stories within the time and patience they deserve. Uzumaki and other Junji Ito works are available on the Viz Manga app with a subscription for $2 a month. Rent it from your local library, or buy it at your local mom and pop store if you can. Don't watch the Uzumaki show unless you enjoy watching train wrecks. Thank you for listening. Tell me, if you watched Uzumaki, was there anything you liked about it? Do you plan to check out Ito-san's work for yourself? Leave a comment and tell me your thoughts. Also, if you listened to the end, today's comment password is Spiral. And finally, today's quote from Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five. "There is no beginning, no middle, no end. No suspense, no moral, no causes, no effects. May we meet again in the void. Bye-bye now."